Last week, Russia invaded Ukraine, but how will this impact you? And I'm not talking about hypothetical situations like if other countries are drawn into physical combat or if a country drops a nuke. I'm talking about the direct consequences of Russia's invasion of Ukraine that you will start feeling today, even if you live on the other side of the world. First off, Russia is the largest producer and exporter of natural gas in the world, the second largest exporter of crude oil, and the third largest exporter of coal. We were already in a global energy crisis because of a supply crunch in these fossil fuels, and it will no doubt get worse from here. Many parts of the world, like Europe, has increasingly relied on energy from Russia to keep themselves afloat after aggressively dismantling their own energy production. Adverse weather conditions in 2021 decreased the amount of energy from sustainable sources, and many countries needed to rapidly increase their import of natural gas and coal to bridge the gap of energy required and the energy available. 80% of Russia's natural gas is exported to the EU, and right now there's no replacement. Europe is also the largest importers of Russian crude oil, and there's no backup to that supply. And since Russia is the second largest exporter of crude oil, they're also one of the largest exporters of refined crude products like gasoline. So why not build out sustainable energy sources? First off is time. We need energy now or everything stops working. This means everything from companies to the food on your plate disappears. Also, many of the most affected places like Northern Europe have some of the lowest solar radiation and wind in the world. You need to build out over 10 times the capacity in wind and solar to replace natural gas. The second issue is fertilizer and food. Russia is the largest exporter of nitrogen-based fertilizer and potash-based fertilizer. This means that one of the most important sources of fertilizer in the world might go offline. You need fertilizer to grow food at scale to feed the global population, and we were already critically low on fertilizer because of a shortage of natural gas. Nitrogen-based fertilizer is made from natural gas, and fertilizer prices have already skyrocketed 6-7 times in the past year due to the low supply, and the price is bound to go up even more now. Less fertilizer means less food, means higher food prices. We were already at risk of a global famine. Now it's almost a guarantee. Russia is also a top 3 grain producer in the world, especially when it comes to wheat. And wheat is used to make one of the most important low-cost food items in the world, bread. Ukraine is also a big producer of wheat. Together, Russia and Ukraine make up almost 30% of the world's wheat exports. Food shortages and price spikes in food lead to massive political risks and social unrest. Vladimir Lenin said, "Wheat is the currency of currencies, because without food, nothing else matters." A huge chunk of Russia's wheat exports goes to the Middle East, and the last time Russia had wheat disruptions and wheat prices drastically increased, it was a catalyst for the Arab Spring. This type of social unrest is now a very big risk across several countries. Russia and Ukraine are also big producers of sunflower oil, and Ukraine is also one of the biggest exporters of grain, potatoes, and sugar beets, and all that is now at risk of coming offline. The third issue is metals and hard commodities. Russia is either the largest or one of the largest exporters of several critical commodities. They supply 40% of the world's palladium, which is used in catalytic converters, electrodes, and electronics. And this will severely impact industries like the automotive industry. Titanium, it's used in everything from aircrafts to phones and jewelry. Aluminum, which is used in just about everything from cars to Coke cans. Iron ore and nickel ore, which is needed to make steel, and stainless steel is used in everything these days. Platinum metals, which are used in high-end electronics. Timber, which is used to build things. Copper, which is used for wiring. Industry gases like neon, which is crucial for the semiconductor industry, and we are already in a semiconductor crisis. All this is now at risk of coming offline, and without these metals and commodities, industries will start shutting down. Whether it's through sanctions or disruptions brought on by the invasion, if the production of these critical commodities and materials are taken offline, it will be incredibly hard to bring them back again. It might never come back. So why does Russia control so much of our critical commodity needs? The Soviet Union was a very industrialized country with factories and production, but when the Soviet Union collapsed, so did their industries. When Russia then wanted to improve their economy and jumpstart their country, it was much easier to flip the switch and put coal and natural gas back online than manufactured goods from factories. This has made Russia a prime supplier of commodities to the rest of the world since 1992. But why have we allowed ourselves to become so reliant on Russian energy when we knew this could happen? After all, most of the Western world is part of NATO. To understand that, you have to watch this next video.